All right, guys, I bolted up the passenger side rear now, and I wanted to get a feel for it before I went into giving any instructions on it. Okay, so those brackets, I was wrong. We were reading the directions and we must have seen it wrong, but that bracket was never supposed to be on the front. It's meant for the back. And those 100mm bolts connect your lower A arm or your lower control arm to this bracket, okay? And then there's a cross member that goes through the back, and that'll bolt through this too. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do step for step on the other side. One thing I want to note, because I had this question, I believe the arch goes towards the back. It's where the sticker is, so you could see it. I looked at the pictures, I did everything, I tried the other ones. This one looked more right. It doesn't really specify, and that looks way angled compared to the machine. So I'm not sure what that's all about, but I put the other one on and it was even worse. So I'm guessing that when we put our brackets back on, it's gonna angle it back straight, because if you look, this thing is actually on an angle, the carrier bearing. So yeah, I think that is correct. And I'm gonna go ahead, before I put my portals on the back, I didn't tighten any bolts, I left them all loose because this cross member attaches to the other side. I didn't want to bolt this and then it pull the other side out of true. If you're putting this on the Polaris 4, you're going to use the rear sway bar, even though I called tech support and they told me it's gone. The front one was removed, the back one is not. So keep your rear sway bar, it fits right there. So I left it on. Thankfully, I was skeptical. They also said you have to drill these out bigger. I put the factory hardware through them, they both fit. So I don't know why they're saying this has to be drilled bigger for the factory hardware. That might be a problem that I run into here in a little bit. I mean, here's one of the bolts, and yeah, that bolt does look a little bigger. So maybe this hole does have to be drilled a little bigger, but I am putting portals on, so we'll find out. And if we have to drill it, we'll drill it out. That's not a big deal, but I can do it when it's on. So I'm getting everything set up, guys, and then I'm gonna show you how to assemble the lift kit on this side. All right, guys, I have now just finished battling getting the brake lines. This is a pain in the ass to get any kind of wrench into, to take the old ones off and put the new ones on. I had to use a set of adjustables, a small set of adjustables, and you risk really stripping this, but I think I got them. I feel pretty good about how tight they are. I think it's an 11mm, but guys, it is really a pain. But as I said earlier, I've already got this little cross member in there, and now I'm going to show you guys how to install this side of the lift kit. This is the driver's side. Of course, the brake lines are going to fight me now. Let's hook that under there. All right, we're going to start with the lower A arm, lower control arm, and they got the zip ties on them, don't forget. Which you'll have to cut off. So, this was a little tricky on the other side. It took a little bit of finagling to get in there, because what you're going to find is, now I got this in the way too, but now when you get this in, they say that you're supposed to put a bolt through it. I don't know what they're talking about, but you can't really put a bolt through it until it's in. And then you just need this big metal spacer to fill in this gap right here. Now the ones in the directions say there's a set screw in it, and there's no set screw in these, and this is all that's in there. So I guess they maybe changed the design, maybe the directions are out of date, but this is what they give you, this is what works. Before you guys get too far, go ahead and throw yourself some Zerk fittings in there. I am in the front, I just got a little overzealous and anxious, and I went ahead and just installed the whole kit and said, oh, I'll come back and put the Zerk fittings in later. It's kind of easier right now when you can just get to them. And don't over crank these, I broke one. I used a 1/4 inch drive on my drill, and it just snapped right off. I got it out, thankfully. Gave me a little scare for a second that I might mess something up. Alright, so now we need the lift bracket, which I have right here. This is the 100mm, and it allows you to hook this lift bracket up as well. So, slip this behind there. And it's tight, guys. Get that in. Slip this bolt just to hold it. That's it. Alright guys, we've got the lower arm on, got the sway bar attached, and your lift bracket. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this while it's easy to get to. We're going to run through all of that. Better to get it now than later, I promise you that. You guys are starting, if you're curious, I went off the sticker, but the arch right here goes towards the back. Same here. This hump goes towards the back. So if you're doing the first side and you're trying to figure out which arm goes where, just so you know, I already did the other side, so I figured it out. Guys, that's pretty much all of the back lift. Much easier than the front. I'd say combined on both sides, I got about an hour in install. So it really doesn't take that long. Brake line was a little tricky. I might not have had the right tools, but I did have a little bit of trouble with that. Be careful, they're very, very soft, and the metal, it will strip very easily. All right, everyone, we're gonna start putting in these portals. So these are the rear portal brackets. It's gonna go in like this, right here. And first off, you gotta prep them. There's some bushings. Further, rear prep, stock bolt, I'm guessing. Bushings into carriers. See, where's the stock? Oh, I see. Okay, so you gotta take your stock. I'm gonna have to pop those out. You actually got to take your stock sleeves out of here. Pins out right here. I'm gonna try to just use a flathead first to see if that works. Yep, pretty easy. I'm gonna pull that out. The other side's the same way. I don't want to use too much force, guys. I don't want to break nothing. All right. Turn this a little bit. Get the bottom out. So you ain't getting rid of any of your stock parts because they use everything they can probably to make the kit able to be sold cheaper. And I'm just gonna, I don't even have to hammer it, doesn't that hurt? So there goes that. The same thing over here. Push that out. And I guess that's all you need out of your carrier bearing. So here's the stock. Okay. That is a little confusing for me. Just gonna hammer that in a little bit. Okay, so it is actually sliding into that bushing, surprisingly. Get the top part of the bushing on there. You can see it's kind of, I'm going to try and center it as best as I can inside of those bushings. It doesn't tell you, so I'm going to assume that's probably the best idea. So I'm about 3/8 of an inch, about a quarter. I'd say within 1/8 of an inch is probably all right, but I'm gonna go ahead and get a little tap back. That one's done. I'm gonna do the same thing at the top now. All right, guys. That was a pretty quick and easy fix. Yeah. Hammered that stock part in there. Do the same thing over here. This one will be harder. Whether you should be hammering this shit or not, I don't know. Don't say in the direction, so I'm just trying to hit it without damaging it. And as far as I know, that is the rear prep they're gonna need. All right, guys, so the hole actually is said to be drilled at 12 millimeters. Since a lot of the instructions have been wrong, I just didn't do it until now. You can do it before now, knowing that I'm telling you. I went to Lowe's, the titanium bits didn't work, so a 1/2 inch is about 12.5 millimeters, and I got 7/16 because they didn't have it at Lowe's, go figure. So I'm gonna try and at least start it with this, and hopefully I can get through it with the titanium bit, which is already shot. Been a journey, guys. We're getting it now. Before we crank that tight, obviously, we're gonna get the top on, which I have rigged up with a zip tie, just to make my life easier where it's not in my way. Guys, I don't think there's any way at this point that you can put this axle in here with all of this attached. So I'm gonna disconnect the top bolt on the portal and sneak this thing in there. Front, I was able to maneuver in there with this portal mount on there. This one, not so much. So here's the new axle. Let's take this castle nut off. We don't need it. The portal comes with its own. And let's take these washers. Single washer. All right. Let's see how the heck this is gonna go. I don't see how. That's in. Now, let's see if it'll take that angle. Maybe it will take that angle. That is one hell of an angle, guys. Makes me want to almost go just with a 7-inch to be careful. I can't even get this thing to sway enough. I might have to take the bottom off too, unfortunately. Let's just do it instead of fighting this thing. Top it off all the way. Redo it. Not a big deal. Easier than fighting it. No McDonald's for me. She knows I'm busy, so we let her go. Put this back on. Alright, feel good about that. I thankfully stayed up and it cracked me in my skull. Look at the angle. Alright guys, so I did go ahead and tighten up the other side really quick just to see, and I put some jack stands underneath of the lower control arm, and when I let the weight down, and obviously I can't do too much because it starts to get wider and it's starting to kick the stand out, it definitely distributes that weight better, and I'm not as worried about the angle as I was. It still seems like a very steep angle. Let's go ahead and get this portal mounted. I've been dancing around it for too long, and get this project finished. I never attached this top bolt. After I had that issue. Where's that bolt? There it is. I'm over here like, something ain't right. Alright. Get in there. Gotta hold it from the other side. Okay. The way of patience sometimes, guys. Just gotta keep on trucking. And always go perfect. Dig deep, find some patience. Don't get too upset because it only makes the process worse. Recess nut now. Go ahead and thread that onto the axle. I think from yesterday when I did the other side. I'm gonna hand tighten it. I don't know why. It's kind of freaks me out sometimes. Make sure it's not stripping or something crazy. Alright, should be plenty good. I gotta find these gaskets. Got a little paper type gasket that goes with this. Alright, so I got my gaskets here. I don't know if it matters which way you put it on. I haven't done. Alright guys, I'm going to show you guys how I mount these studs in the rotors. Pretty easy. Hooking it through like this, without anything on it. And this has worked for me up on this way. I hammered one set, but this is the better way to do it. Alright guys, this is it. I am down to the last side, passenger side.